Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't stopped by before, my name is Karen. I'm a Reiki master and teacher, and I like to blend the woo and the do, meaning practical spirituality, so that we can have better health, more happiness, and obviously feel supported on our healing journey. So today Audrey is joining us, my little beautiful girl, and today we're talking all about energy drainers. Now, might I say, get yourself a pet, get yourself a pug, any kind of animal, because they are energy lifters. And so, I remember when my husband and I lived in Bali, in the villa that we lived in for 3 months, there was a pet turtle. So we called him Richie, and it was just so fun to have a turtle around. Anyway, so 5 things that are draining your energy invisibly, meaning not very obvious. These things are probably not things that you necessarily realize that are creating a mental or an emotional load, but they are. And after watching today, I want you to think about which one resonated with you most and then just go and clear that. Yeah. So imagine if we're like a pipe with lots of holes, obviously all the water is draining out. It's not very efficient. And so we need to patch those holes. And sometimes it's, I admit, sometimes things are more difficult, but these things are quick and simple. So let's dive in. Number 1, clutter. Clutter and unfinished tasks. This is draining your energy, and it's such a simple thing that can be shifted. So we all do it. We all have a messy drawer, or I start a lot of projects. And it's almost like I'm good at getting started, and then I can start to peter out my energy, and then kind of have things almost like 90% done. It might be, I don't know, like you've just gotten the washing off the line and you haven't folded it and put it away. It's that last 10%. You've decided to clear out your wardrobe. You've got a couple of bags of clothes that you know that you're going to be donating, and yet the bags are still sitting in the back of your car, or they're sitting on the floor of your room. And it's that last, whether it's 10%, I don't know, it's not a perfect science. It's like, but it's that last kind of few steps that you could do to fully complete that task. And I feel as though those are the kinds of things that drain our energy without us really realizing. And then when you become very conscious and aware of it, I like to kind of like take stock of my spaces and go, okay, where is there a loop that is not being closed here? Yeah. And I pride myself on being, as much as possible, a loop closer. Now that doesn't always happen because human, right? And that's where we can have an opportunity to bring compassion. So that's another conversation. But yes, thinking about what around you is a loop that is unfinished, that could be closed, because especially if we have clutter around us, if we have that, I've got to do that thing, and it's just like this, it's constantly on loop, it's constantly on repeat, that is draining your mental load, your energy. And so commit to just having a look at the things that are on repeat that could be done quite quickly, quite simply, and that will bring an onflow, a momentum of energy. And you will feel so much clearer when your space is clear, when those quick tasks, because oftentimes they're really quick things. Yeah, it's like book that appointment, send that email, do that thing that you have probably done most of the job of doing, and then you will feel lighter and clearer. Okay, the second thing, and this is actually inspired, this whole episode was inspired by a conversation I just had with a client earlier this morning. And it was, we were able to identify some of these unconscious or invisible blocks. So the second thing is comparison. And I want to talk specifically to comparison on social media. We can be looking at social media, whether it's Instagram or TikTok or whatever, and we're being sold an image, of what life should look like, what clothes we should wear, what our morning routine should even be like. And I think the idea of social media that began, I believe, is inspiration, has kind of shaped or speaks to a part of us that is wounded, that is a part of us that we are likely, if you're here, are on a healing journey to become more aware of. And I think that comparison can be something like, we can look at somebody else's life and think that, you know, they've got their shit together, like they've got their life sorted, okay? And it's like, that's just one photo, that's just one thing that they're showing, yeah? And it doesn't mean that people are inauthentic. It just means that we can start to piece together all of these highlight reels. We can piece together all these things, these snippets that we see from lots of different people, and our mind puts it all together. And then we place this expectation on ourselves that we ourselves need to live up to the best of everybody, all combined into one. And when we place this unrelenting standard or this expectation that is unrealistic on ourselves, and then that only fuels this comparison. And so a way to really start to discern your consumption, yeah, because we're not just talking like food that we consume, media is something that we are constantly consuming, yeah? And so we need to get really, really, I guess, clear to ourselves about, does this make me feel good? Does this inspire me? Does this expand my energy? Or does it make me feel contracted or less than in some way? And a really great way to just ask yourself that question, but a really great way to clear that drainer of your energy is to unfollow and unsubscribe. You know, something simple that I do is when I'm waiting for, I don't know, an appointment, or, you know, maybe I'm waiting to meet a friend or something, it's like, rather than scrolling, what I will do is I'll go and unsubscribe from like the millions of email lists that I've subscribed to at some point. And so I feel as though this is something, so comparison is draining our energy, and whether we like it or not, it is happening through social media. Doesn't mean that we get off social media, it just means that we get more discerning about who it is that gets our time and attention. And if you don't feel expansive, if you don't feel good, and what you think is your feeling of good is going to be different to mine, but in essence, most people, like, you know, you feel that, like that inspiration, that sense of, oh, wow, like that's cool, I could have that too, then that is an expander for you. So continue, yeah, to consume that person's content, or continue to be uplifted. If, however, you feel the opposite, if you feel shit, if you start feeding negative talk about yourself, then a really great way to get space is to unfollow, unsubscribe, so that then you don't, I mean, it's like seeing a fire and putting your hand in knowing you're going to get burnt. Yeah. It's like, okay, I don't need to burn myself on purpose. So that's a really great way to, shift, to clear an unconscious or an invisible energy drainer. You're going to notice that you have a lot more spaciousness in your mind and your heart. Okay, another thing, number 3. I wrote these things down because I can go off on tangents. It's just kind of what I do. But number 3, another invisible drainer, is focusing only on the physical. What I mean by that is your physical body, your physical home, your physical space. And yes, absolutely, we are living in this physical world. Therefore, it is important to look after our body. Our body is a vessel through which our soul speaks. Our body is a vessel through which we are here to live, our dharma, to do our work, to enjoy our life. Yeah. So of course we have to look after our body, and then our home and spaces which we, live and work from. It's important to have those infused with good energy too. Okay. However, if we only ever focus on physical exercise, like on the body, on what we're eating, what we're drinking, and we don't actually see that we have 4 bodies. It's a physical body, there's also a mental body, emotional body, and a spiritual body. So there are many layers of our aura, there are many layers of our field, and so we are energy. If we only focus on the physical, we're kind of discarding kind of our core and our essence. So when we start to see tending to the physical and the energetic, and our mental, our emotions, our spiritual body, when we start tending to those 4 bodies together, then we will realize that we actually we learn how to direct the flow of energy, how to receive energy from the universe. That is, in essence, what I do as a Reiki practitioner. I channel the energy of the universe. It's not my energy. I'm just the pipe, like I always tell my students, like, and the energy flows through. Yeah. And the energy is intelligent, but it's in essence like, I think we focus so much on what we eat, what we drink, how we move our body. Again, all very important. But if we focused internally as much as we focused externally, then we would notice that we would have so much more energy. Yeah, because our thoughts are creating our feelings are creating the actions that we do and don't do, which in essence are manifesting in our life. It's what we're seeing, sensing, touching, experiencing. So it all starts mind, thoughts, energy, feelings, energy. So yes, tend to your physical vessel, because it's the vessel in which that we experience life, here on earth. But also think of, how can I support my heart? How can I support my emotions right now? What's going on in my mind? Is there something that I could shift out of my thoughts? Is there a belief that's on loop? Yeah. And there's lots of different ways that we can shift that, but I'm just wanting to focus on just becoming aware of if you are, turning a blind eye to your feelings, your thoughts, your emotions, and also your intuitive connection, your connection to, whether you want to call it universe, God, source, like there is a greater energy that we are all connected into. And when we disregard that, we feel depleted. Yeah. And when we can tune into that, when we can plug into that, yeah, and allow that energy to come to us, through us, and surround us, then we're feeling the high vibes. We're feeling good. Okay, number 4, another invisible energy drainer is unspoken words. Like conversations not had. If you're wanting to say something to somebody, you've either got to say it, which is a very throat chakra, a throat chakra thing, being able to express our authentic truth. Sometimes we can't actually express the thing that we want to say to the person. Perhaps it's not going to be, maybe we can't say it to them because they're no longer here or in our life. It could be that we are on a path of understanding, and so we want to say words and have conversations and, bring love to conversations that we know are going to be healing. But if that person isn't at the same stage or at the same place as us, it may not be well received. And so therefore it might cause more angst. So sometimes we can't actually have that conversation because it just isn't received, and it just makes the situation messier. So this is all creating a load, often that we hold in our heart, and can be something where, you might experience that you like cough, or that you have a tight throat, or especially times where that you are holding yourself back, there'll be something physically that will happen in your throat. And so a way to clear this invisible drainer is to notice when you're having an internal dialogue, when maybe you think of somebody or a situation, and maybe you're even like, oh, I wish I had responded this way. I wish I had said it this way instead. Like sometimes not even actually with anybody else, but can be an inner dialogue within yourself. But in essence, a way to clear this invisible drainer is to speak it out. So whether that is looking in a mirror and just speaking it to yourself, maybe you just need to do some ho'oponopono, like, thank you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, I love you, I love you, please forgive me, I'm sorry, thank you for this experience. Like, speaking it out. It might be writing it out. It might be writing a letter. This is something I tell all of my clients to do when there's somebody in their life that they want to say something to, that they need to get it, that expression, I need to get this off my chest. But hey, sometimes getting stuff off your chest isn't received. It makes it just more difficult. So I always tell them, write the letter. Obviously, don't send it. Write the letter. Whether you type it, whether you're a phone typer, whether you're a typer on the keyboard, or I love to write things on paper. And then afterwards, like, bless it and release it. Like, I bless you, I release you, I let this go. And you might burn safely the piece of paper. You might rip it up and just pop it in the bin. But in essence, we need to get it out. So speaking it, if it can't be spoken directly to the person, then writing it out speaking it out just to yourself, it's going to feel the same way in your mind. It's going to feel the same way energetically. It's a purging, it's a releasing, it's a I got this out. Yeah. Now, of course, if it's an opportunity to have a more difficult conversation, but you know that it's something that would be good for your growth or good for your, say, relationship with your friend or your partner, family member, then having the courage to know that, we weren't really taught to express ourselves freely. And this is so much around what our healing journey is about. It's about, reconnecting to our authentic truth and knowing that we can be exactly as we are. We don't have to be perfect, and that we can do hard stuff. And oftentimes, healing is as hard as you want to make it, but sometimes there's hard things. So it's making that choice. Like, could this person be a person that is in your life so that you can perhaps stretch yourself and have these conversations? Just don't leave things unspoken, and either say it if it will be received in a way that is healing and helpful for all involved. Otherwise, write it out, speak it out to yourself, just get it out, and you will notice you will feel so much lighter for it. Okay, and then the fifth thing, the fifth energy drainer is like negative self-talk, negative talk, and negative people. So just negativity that sometimes we don't even realize. I remember when I was a teacher, Friday afternoons were like Friday afternoons in the staff room, have a drink, and everyone would just bitch and moan. And it's just like, that's not helpful. And I didn't realize that because at the time I was in it. And sometimes, we only know what we know until then, it becomes clear, right? And so as I could see that my mental health was declining and that I knew that I wanted to get out of teaching, I just knew that I needed to shift things in my life. I had to start to separate myself from that negativity because I just started to feel super draining, and I just knew that it wasn't going to move me in the direction that I wanted to expand into. Yeah, wasn't going to open me up to possibilities and positivity if I was getting caught up in that. Sometimes we can quite easily remove ourselves. We can just be like, I'm just not going to say yes to that thing. I'm just not going to go to that thing. Other times we need to see how perhaps sometimes it's not people that we can necessarily like just cut out of our life. Sometimes it's our family. And again, I believe that everyone is in our life to teach us something, and it's just giving us an opportunity, to heal stuff, to grow and, move through things. But again, if we think of that, if people are talking negatively and, if it's gossip or it's just low vibration stuff, it's like, how can you notice that, become aware of it, and then just start to, it's not about cutting people out of your life and just like, see you later, guys. But how can you start to, be a bit more discerning in who you spend your time with, how much time and attention and energy you give to people or situations. How can you start to, just begin to say, is this healthy for me? Is this actually serving me? Or is this draining my energy? So is it uplifting and giving me energy? Do I walk away from these experiences feeling good, feeling happy, feeling connected? Or do I walk away feeling like, oh my God, I got to go lie down, so it all starts with awareness, because from that place of awareness, then we can go, okay, I'm going to start making choices, or I'm going to continue to make choices that serve me to feel in my highest vibration. And feeling in your highest vibration doesn't mean that you're like, hey, I'm like the happiest person on earth every single moment of the day. It's just being able to recognize where things are draining you and where you could, call back your power, call back your energy, so that you can feel like a contentment or a happiness or a peace or an ease within yourself. Because to me, that is living in your highest vibration. Yeah. It doesn't mean that I'm like dancing from the ceiling every day, but it means that I am connected to my truth, my essence, and I know what serves me well. Okay. Well, thanks for being here. I'd love to know in the comments if there was one of those 5 that really stood out to you. Please tell me. And if you enjoyed this video, please come back, watch more, maybe like, subscribe. That would be cool. I would love that so much. That would help me so much as I keep sharing these videos. So anyway, have a beautiful day, and go own your happy.